How's it going, everyone? It is Friday, August 9th, 2024. Let's get in the video for today. I gave a few picks yesterday. The first, let's go over the earnings time spreads I gave. The first was ACAM, and I got the 92 calls for a 55-cent debit, and I scratched this on the open for a 55-cent credit. Now, there was a particular reason that I scratched it, and it had to do with the after-hours reaction on ACAM. It had a huge after-hours reaction, and the company announced that it was raising guidance. So to me, guidance is a powerful fundamental mover and driver of price action. And I felt that because it raised guidance, there's a decent chance that tomorrow on the open, it could be a gap and go scenario. And that's actually what ended up happening. Stock filled in the gap from the D1 all the way from the prior earnings on May 9th, and now is just kind of fighting at that gap over here. So, took the, I guess, the scratch on ACAM. There was a chance for me to profit on this, actually probably take a 25, somewhere between a 20 to 40% profit was very possible. But I just wasn't sure if, if I could really get that fill on the open. I kind of played it a little bit safe. What I had in my favor was just the wild bid-ask spreads. They were so crazy that I got filled right on the open at 55 cents, even though the mid was somewhere around like 25 cents. So that gives you a sense of how wild some of those fills are. So ACAM was a scratch. I also had Unity, which we did take a profit on. We got in yesterday at a 22-cent debit. And then I got out somewhere here at the 940 candle for a 30-cent debit. So that's about a 36% gain. I was a little bit too aggressive with my profit target. I had a target of about 100% on the open because you had a massive, let me see if this is open here. Yeah, you had a huge IV crush here, and the stock really didn't move from the open yesterday. So if we look at the expected move here, average move is 11%. So about $1.60. You can see that it moved far less than that. It moved about 50 cents on the open. So had a chance to take 100%, couldn't quite get the fill, and just was kind of moving around my target. Eventually just settled on 30%. I kind of stuck to my guns, and then I got the hold over here. I'm taking a look at you right now to see what it's trading at. Also right around 30, 31 cents, so close to where I got in on. So I think I had the right idea about being aggressive on this time spread. We had a high crush. We didn't have a lot of movement. That's what we wanted. Potentially could have gone for maybe something like 75%. Got a little bit of a clearer fill on that. So not too mad. It's always sort of a learning process with these time spreads. Sometimes you can go aggressive. Sometimes you... and you may kind of miss your mark, but I think going aggressive was the right idea on the stock. So let's take this guy out. I gave a day trade pick yesterday on IEYE, and I said if this stock can break through that low the day at the time, we could get something going. Could not. And here was the tell, right? So I'm saying, hey, look, this is looking pretty good. This is looking pretty good. If you want to get short on this stock, maybe you want to enter closer to resistance. Stock starts to break down. Okay, it's looking pretty good here, right? And maybe I could potentially maybe take this short here. Let's see what happens. And then we get a huge high volume, really, really high volume candle. So if I'm over here, I'm taking my scratch. Where if I had an order out, maybe I got a lucky fill, but I'm taking my scratch here because this is a really high volume candle, and I don't know where we're going to go. You can see how the move is starting to retrace back over here, ends up retracing back, and now we do test these lows again the next day. So it tells us a couple things. One, there is a lot of buying here. We were able to digest all of those buyers, knock it back down to the price. We're hugging this trend line while the market is dead. So still a bearish stock, but from a day trading perspective, there are just better options out there. This is pretty volatile, hasn't quite broken through that D1 resistance, and you got to be a little bit careful. This is some longer term sloping. All right, this is a pretty powerful trend line coming into play on this stock. or actually even from over here. Sorry. Pretty powerful trend line coming into play from the stock. And so it's a longer term trend line. A lot of buyers there. It may take a couple of tries to break through. We may need some market tailwind. So I had I as a no trade. Just coloring that here. Nice. So it looks like August is off to a good start. Some nice wins on our time spreads. We have a couple of swing shorts, a couple of nice day trade wins as well. Let's take a look at what the market is doing on a longer term time frame. We know that fundamentally we are mildly bullish here. To me, this is a normal type of volatility in a bullish trend. I don't think the entire economy is going to fall or break out. There are still long-term tailwinds. We keep our eye on some dark clouds on the horizon that have not surfaced right now in terms of bank failures or China. But we're just always watching if there's any signs of economic weaknesses. I think the market has overreacted to a couple of data points. But longer-term investors still know to hold firm, right? This volatility for longer-term investors, if they're smart and they have a long-term perspective and they stick to their game plan, is an excellent buying opportunity for them. And that's why we get these dips, because longer-term investors like this attractive price here. So that's where we're mildly bullish. Technically here, we know that we are mildly bearish. Okay, so we know that we broke through technical resistance, heavy volume, lower highs, lower lows, through some upward sloping trend lines. We've talked about this a couple of times here. Market is bouncing. We know that the bounce, we'll see how tall it goes. It could reach that 50-day SMA. We're kind of at a juncture here at the 100-day SMA, whether we're going to go back down or maybe continue back up. So far, a couple days on this bounce here, we can already see the mixed overlapping candles. There's lots of wicks in these bodies here. Long red candle, then gap up. Try to test this high over here. We'll see if we can move one way or the other. Maybe the market wants to wait for CPI data. I'm not sure. But right now we're at a pivot. And from here, we can either go and test the 200-day SMA, or I think we'll test the 100-day SMA. We're kind of right smack dab in the middle. So that's a longer-term market bias. Shorter-term market bias, we are neutral to mildly bullish here. I am waiting for a bounce. Or sorry, we are in a bounce, my bad. And you can see how we had this upward sloping trend line, broke through this channel. It was actually very interesting watching Dan's video the other day. He mentioned that we break through, we might get a retest and go down, or we might get a retest and just kind of grind higher, but never get back in this channel. And that seems to be happening here. We're kind of grinding higher, not really getting back in this channel. If you look at the move down versus the move up, this move up has been super weak. I mean, just tiny mixed candles. Can't be knocked down, but it's really not as strong as what expected. Now, I know that when the move goes up, right, it tends to be a little more steadier. When the move comes down, it tends to be a little bit more fast, furious, and aggressive. But we know that this is not strong price action. So I'm neutral at the moment. I know that sellers haven't been able to dock it down immediately, which is a sign of bid. But buyers haven't really been able to advance very strongly from here. So I don't have any strong intuitions as to where we might go based on what I'm seeing in this price action. So shorter-term market bias is neutral. Intraday bias. So what happened yesterday? We got this gap up, a little bit of a bid check, rallied up higher. We compressed for a while, and the duration of this compression is your clue that we're going to go higher. So if we compressed for maybe something like, I don't know, right, 60 or 90 minutes, somewhere like here, and then we start to roll over, okay, that is pretty bearish. Now we're compressing. Now here is where we should have rolled over, right? We have some time, we're compressing here, but we actually got a couple of test at the level. You see we're getting slightly higher lows. If I were to draw a trend line, slightly higher lows, right? Connecting this trend line. So that tells us that bulls are engaged. And we're able to poke above this range just a little bit, and then we get the next little breakthrough. And now you see that these highs here, this prior range, is acting as support for this next level, right? There's a lot of support right here. The market comes back here, tests the prior range, comes back higher. So compression, we get a little bit of a pop-up over here, and to me, this is a little bit of a compression break, but we can't get anything going because we're right at the SMA. We're just waiting to see what happens. I think we are starting to form a very mild bullish trend. To me, though, it's nothing worth really trading. I think we've really just been in a no man's land since the first hour of yesterday. This is all a no man's land to me. And if you're not trading, this is just a good time to not trade. If you are taking trades, to me, post-earnings stocks, lots of heavy volume, lots of momentum. Get in either very early in the day or very later in the day after you get that pullback, and we're starting to get that next leg lower in the stock. I'm going to give one example here of where that might set up. So that's what happened yesterday. Closed right in the SMA. No clue to where we're going to go. Today, flat open, right? Testing the upside, testing the downside. Lots of mixed overlapping candles. Very low volume relative to what's been happening recently. You can see low volatility, not a ton, or low volatility, very low range here. I mean, not very low range, but you see how much we're chopping back and forth below VWAP. We have the prior high of the day. We also have this high coming in from 2 days ago that's both acting as resistance. There's just no momentum either way to get anything going. Market is going to chop around and does what the market does. So we are just waiting to see what the heck happens here. So intraday market bias is neutral, very much neutral. I have no strong inclinations as to where we might go. And here's what I'm looking to see. So first thing I'd want to see is, for me to get short, we got to break 528, this low right here, get through 528. For me to get long, we got to break and hold this high of 530. So we got to get somewhere around 533. So there's this $5 no man's land range. So this is going to be the breeding ground for the next trade, for the next trend. And we just got to wait and see. So let's give some picks for today. Or actually, let me go over the swing longs that we have, or swing shorts that we have, I should say. There's no swing longs at the moment. So we have MRK. Healthcare is a little bit up today. You can see that it's kind of hit this trend line again here, bouncing off this level. So still looking pretty weak while the market has been bouncing here in this bearish trend. I'm not super worried about it. I have this bearish channel to lean on. I have the selling pressure from earnings. I also have AVWAP-E and the 8 EMA. So a lot of resistance coming up at this level. I'm okay with taking a little bit of heat at the moment. I knew that I may have to take heat if I'm early to the market. Market hasn't really done anything. It looks like there's a bit of a flight to safety into healthcare. But I don't know how long this is going to last. Volume has been very low on this stock as well compared to the heavy selling that we saw right after earnings. Not worried about that guy. WFC, Wells Fargo. We took it yesterday after it's confirmed some of the rejections off the trinity SMA. Today, stock is pretty much flat, not really doing anything, kind of right below its prior day low. Was a little bit positive down at the open. Now it's been pretty flat for the day. Not reading too much into it here, right? I just wanted to see it lean on the 200-day SMA and hold a lot of these gains. Qualcomm, very dead day for Qualcomm. I like how it's right out of 200-day SMA. Still chopping around. It has been a little bit weak relative to SPY on this past move. If I just zoom out a little bit here, it is in a bit of a upward trend right now. So I do need to see this break. But if we compare this to the downtrend, maybe I go to an M30 chart here for a clear signal, right? So this is our downtrend, and we get our capitulation. We get our double bottom over here, grinding up higher, right? So this is a pretty weak move up higher relative to the weakness that we saw in the downtrend. So I like what I see in Qualcomm as well. Again, not zooming in too much on these stocks. Really look at this on a D1 price action basis, right? The M5 will just confirm whether it's reacting to certain levels, but I really try not to look at the swings. Maybe I really look at them on the open. I look at them when I make this video, and then look at them at the end of the day, and that's it. All right, so let's go over what picks can we take for today. Hey guys, my OBS crashed, so the last part of the video got corrupted. So let's go over the 2 picks for today. I'm giving TTD on the long side. When I gave this video, it was about 20 minutes ago. I want to see TTD break out of this compression and hold those gains. That would be a nice long as SPY breaks to the upside. If we actually end up breaking through the downside here, getting low below that 528 level, then I would favor NFE on the short side. Stock is not really participating in this last leg of the move. Rolling over here, get in on an L, RSI alert. Be wary of this move higher. We got some long candles. We want to see if it sticks. If it starts to fail, NFE could be a good short. Those are my 2-day trade picks for today. We're adding no swings, no earnings time spreads, and we'll take a look at how these picks did. Thanks for watching. We'll take a look at our positions on Monday.